What's going on, guys? All right, so it is Sunday. I normally do Q&As on Monday, but Monday, which is tomorrow, I got to get up super early. I got somewhere I'm going, and by the time I get back, it'll be too late to do one of these videos. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it today, which is Sunday, which is normally a day I don't get a lot of questions. So I will follow up with another Q&A either Wednesday or Thursday when there are more questions. Okay. Now, before I get started with the one question that I have, I just want to remind everyone that there is a live show on Tuesday roll call, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, that is Tuesday live show, Tuesday roll call, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay. So the question that I got was pertaining to the caregiver program as well as aid and attendance. And they had a two-part question. So I'll start with the first one. Is the caregiver program and aid and attendance the same? They are not the same. They have similar qualifications, but one is done by the compensation office and the other one is done by the hospital. Okay, the staff at the hospital and the central office. That's the caregiver program, and then aid and attendance is done by your VA compensation office. They both pay in some instances, and the caregiver program is a little different. With aid and attendance, if you awarded aid and attendance, that's starting from L, which is at the lower level, going all the way up to R2, okay, that money goes to the veteran. With the caregiver program, about 90 to 96% of people are going to be accepted in the first half of the caregiver program because that part does not pay, okay? That's about training, teaching, getting a break, going over the veterans' problems and how to solve those problems, and getting scheduling for their appointments and scheduling the caregiver to take their breaks. That first half of the caregiver program, most people are going to qualify for that because there's no compensation involved. The second half of the caregiver program is where compensation is involved, and that compensation goes to the caregiver, not the veteran. I'm gonna repeat that again. Compensation on the caregiver side goes to the caregiver. It does not go to the veteran, okay? And the way that they determine the amounts is the amount of care the veteran requires. So obviously, if the veteran only requires 20 hours, you're only gonna get paid so much. If it's a situation where the veteran needs someone with them 24/7, then you would get paid the max, okay? But again, that is determined by the VA, your paperwork, your appointments, and what your doctors also have to say about your particular disabilities, all right? Hopefully that part is clear. Now, when it comes to denials, are the denials on both sides similar? Yes, both programs essentially look for the same things, okay? Essentially, but there are some unique differences. But I'll just say this because your question was more focused on the caregiver side than it was aid and attendance. On the caregiver side, there's a few reasons why people are denied right away. One is incomplete paperwork. Filling out the application is not complicated. There are some questions that need to be answered sometimes by your doctor when they need a little bit more information. And when those things are not fulfilled, they deny the application. Another one would be not going to regular appointments at the VA. They want to see the consistency there, and they also want to see that your caregiver is going with you to your appointments. If your caregiver is not going with you to your appointments, you're pretty much driving yourself on your own and you're doing all these things on your own. When you go to the VA, that's not going to be a good sign as well. And I hate talking like this because I feel like cheaters use this information to try to get a benefit that they don't deserve. But this information is also online everywhere. So I'm not saying anything that's not already out there online, okay? And then one of the other reasons why people are denied is because when the caregiver goes to fill out information, the caregiver doesn't always give a complete picture of what they do, right? You have to be very detailed when you're given a description of what you're doing to help the veteran. So if you say something very benign like, you know, I run bath water and I let the veterans clothes out and I get up and I cook breakfast. That doesn't even sound like you need a caregiver. It just sounds like that veteran needs a maid. But if you say something along the fact of I run his bath water and I give him or her a bath, I lay his or her clothes out and I help them get dressed, I put their socks and shoes on, And then we go to the kitchen where I prepare their meal and then I feed them their meal. That second half, the latter half, sounds like that veteran, whether it's a male or female, needs a caregiver or aid in attendance. Okay, so you want to be very meticulous when you're putting down information, not just skim through it and think, oh, they're gonna know what I'm talking about. No, they don't, because they're looking at precisely what you write down to determine whether or not this veteran actually qualifies for this benefit. Okay, so hopefully this information helps you out for the masses who are watching, who may be interested in the caregiver program or aid in attendance. One last thing about the caregiver program for those of you who may be thinking of applying. If you cannot prove that you've had your caregiver at a minimum of 6 months before your application, you will be denied right out the gate. They're going to deny you right out the gate. If you just got this caregiver a month ago and you go apply for aid and attendance or you go apply for the caregiver program, they're going to deny you right away. It is. So at a minimum, 6 months of consistency, like going to the VA, your doctor acknowledging in their notes, he's here with his wife, he's here with his daughter, he's here with his brother, or whoever it is that's taking care of you. You want that consistency of them mentioning that you didn't come alone. You didn't drive. You were accompanied by your caregiver. Cool. They have a consistent record of that. Versus, I drove today. 2 weeks later, I drove myself. Another week, I drove myself. And then you're asking for a caregiver. I'm just saying, just put 2 and 2 together. Okay. But all right, guys, that's it for this video. Hey, I appreciate everybody watching as always. And until the next time, guys, I'm out of here.